Hey everybody, this is TJR. It was back in mid-2017 that I decided I wanted to get back into listening to vinyl and bought a new turntable. That turntable is the Audio-Technica ATLP USB 120. I realize, of course, this is an entry-level turntable. Not a cheap turntable, I should say, but just entry-level for someone who is serious about getting into records again. And that's where I was at that time, entry-level. So fast forward to today, and I am in the place now where I really want to upgrade my turntable. I want to take the next step. But there is one little problem. For me, having a turntable with USB capabilities is extremely important. And it limits my choices. And if you're wondering, well, why is that so important to you? Well, you have to understand my vinyl journey. Prior to having the Audio-Technica turntable, I actually did own an inexpensive Sony USB turntable. This was a fully automatic turntable, no anti-skate, no balancing the tone arm, cheap stylus, and I bought it as a demo model at Sears for like under $200. I didn't buy any speakers for it. I did not listen to any records on it. I bought it for one purpose only. I still had a bunch of old records from back in the day that I could not find on CD. So I held onto these records for years and years until I was able to get this USB turntable and digitize them. After I digitized those records, I pretty much got rid of 99% of those records and later on just got rid of the turntable. But it was through this digitizing of records that I began to get reinterested in vinyl. Around the same time, I was also reading about the loudness wars and reading about how sometimes the vinyl version of a recent release was not as overcompressed as a CD version. So during that time, I actually bought a vinyl version of a CD that I owned that I thought sounded really good. And I took that record home, digitized it, made a full quality WAV file CD burn of it. I compared the two on my stereo, I compared the two on my MP3 player. And even on my MP3 player, which would have been an iPod, I could hear a definite difference between the vinyl version and the CD version. And once again, I want to stress, I liked the CD version of this album. I thought it sounded really good, but the vinyl version had a little something extra that I enjoyed even more. So when I made the decision that I definitely wanted to get a more serious turntable, or at least a serious entry-level turntable, I wanted it to have USB capabilities, which the Audio-Technica did have. I also have always felt that it's important when I first get a vinyl record to digitize it as sort of a permanent record of it, just in case anything happened to the vinyl. So this brings me to today, where at this point I can only find 3 choices that I have, so this is very limiting. So I want to get your feedback on what I've discovered, and who knows, maybe you know of some turntables that I don't know about, and hopefully you will share that with me in the comments. My first is the Denon DPV400 USB turntable. This turntable has the phono preamp built in, very much like my Audio-Technica does. It is semi-automatic. The needle will lift and the platter will stop when the record is done, but you do have to manually return it, no big deal. This particular turntable lists for around $599. It is the most expensive of the choices that I've been able to find. But one thing that I really don't like about this turntable already is the dust cover. This dust cover is not functional. Now, let me give a little explanation. The dust cover for this turntable was designed so that when you remove it, it becomes a display for the album that you're listening to at that time. That's pretty neat. But it's not functional to me because while you're playing your record, there's no protection from dust. Also, when you're not playing a record, if you just simply put the dust cover on, it doesn't effectively cover your turntable. It doesn't effectively protect it from dust. So unless this turntable sounds amazing, I don't think I'm going to be choosing this one. Now, Project also has a couple of USB model turntables. They have the Project Primary and the Debut 3 Record Master. These list between around $299 for the Primary and around roughly $350 for the Debut 3. The Debut 3 Recordmaster has an Ortophon OM series moving magnet cartridge. I do not know about the primary. Now, I've heard nothing but good things about Project. So anybody who wants to share their experiences with me on that turntable, please do. I'm sure there's more than a few of you out there that have one. Finally, there is a new USB turntable from Sony. Sony has the PSHX500 high-res USB turntable. It lists for just a little bit under $300. Now, this new Sony model is an upgrade from the one that I used to own. It has anti-skate. It has a balancing tone arm. And the stylus is an unbranded Audio-Technica moving magnet model that Audio-Technica designed for Sony. Now, I have to say, when I bought that initial first Sony turntable, inexpensive one, I have to admit, I was impressed with the level of audio quality that I got from my digitizations of the vinyl records that I had. As a matter of fact, when I got my Audio-Technica turntable, I figured this is an upgrade. It's going to do a better job. And I'll tell you, the Audio-Technica did a great job of digitizing the albums, and the audio quality was very good. But when I did a back-to-back comparison between an album that I had originally done on the Sony and one on the Audio-Technica, to be honest, the cheaper Sony turntable captured more dynamic range than the Audio-Technica did. For that reason, I find myself being a little bit more drawn to the Sony. Also, I should mention, the Sony turntable has its own proprietary software that is specifically unique to that turntable to help you with digitizing your vinyl records. Now, I've never used this software. The floor model that I bought was supposed to come with it. It didn't because it was a floor model. It didn't matter. I went and purchased a software called Vinyl Studio from the Apple App Store, which has worked really well at not only digitizing the vinyl, helping me with track separations, searching the internet for track names. It's been a very good software, and I can apply it to any turntable I get. So right now, those are my three choices. And at this point, I'd like to turn the floor over to all of you and just give me your input. Tell me what you think. What would you get? Right now, I'm leaning more towards either the Project or the Sony. And if anybody knows of another good name brand turntable out there that has USB capabilities, please let me know in the comments. Everybody, thank you so much for your input. Looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Take care. Bye-bye.